Right, we're getting some people in now. So I figured I'd better get started. So, hello everyone, and welcome to my very first Instagram Live interview. I'm so glad to be interviewing someone my own age to prove that not only that interview is something that can be taken up by all ages, it can be taken up by anyone, no matter what background, no matter anything that happens. So, without further ado, I shall bring our guest in. If I can. And we will get started.
Hello.
Hey, PJ.
How are you? Yes.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm really excited.
Oh, good. Well, obviously, you kind of came on the scene fairly recently with
Mm-hmm.
and I came across you on Twitter,
Yep.
and originally I am obviously a bit skeptic about people who follow me, just in the slight off chance that they may be a fake account or something. But I thought, right, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna make sure that it's a real person. So I stuck with you for a while, and I'm glad I did. Because it would have been a bit odd otherwise. So I figured I'd let you introduce yourself and tell everyone a bit about you.
Well, I'm PJ. I've been doing genealogy for about 6 years, since I was 10. Um, I love researching history and anything that really has to do with that subject area, really. I love DNA as well. I'm really bad at this. I like languages and how they change based off of different social and economic things like that. I'm not good at this.
So,
I don't know.
well, that's a fairly good introduction, I think. So I think the question that most people would ask, and it's typically the one anyone asks, anyone who gets into genealogy, is how you started in it. How did you get into the subject of genealogy?
Well, I really started 2 times. Once from my dad's side, one from my mom. My dad's side, my surname's Elias, and Elias is a really odd surname. Especially the way it's spelled and the way it's pronounced. So no one knew exactly where we were from. My second great grandparents were orphans, and people thought that they were from the Czech Republic, which they were
Right.
ethnically, but they were actually Romanians that their ancestors came from the Czech Republic during the Napoleonic Wars. And then my mother's side I started because her family was very secretive in where they were from. So, like, I never knew my grandfather was pure Polish, and my mother never really met her grandparents. So there was a lot of no one really knew anything about that side. So that was really interesting to research, and I continue to research that side mostly.
Right. Now, obviously, like you said, you've done like 6 years of genealogy research. How, because obviously you would have dealt with many different sources and many different documents. Is there any that you found like more helpful than another?
I love vital records and censuses, which are not something that every country has. but a lot of countries have birth, marriage, and death records, which are extremely helpful. And then censuses I find the most helpful because they give so much detail on who the person was, their birth year, their age, where they were from, linguistic background, occupation, and where they lived, which is, I mean, you can do so much with those details.
Absolutely, because I found them, especially vital records, I found them to be quite useful in my own research, especially in one of my sides. I found that because it just kind of added more ancestors to my own family, because I had on my grandfather's family, a good few of them were listed as the mother the mother of the children, and a good few of the others were a name of Bridget Kelly, who would have actually been their aunt. So that kind of helped me, add that connection in. And I think, yeah, they're definitely help. To me, they're definitely one of my favorite records to be seeing. So obviously, you're very active in genealogy circles. So are there
Yeah.
any like projects or ventures that you're currently pursuing? Obviously, I know there's an obvious one. You
Yeah.
and I both share.
Well, I'm obviously the hidden branch, and then the brick wall hour with you as well. And then I think everything else, I mostly do a lot of solo projects, but I'm also a member of the Pinellas Genealogical Society, which is really cool. And then I research my local history. I research a specific part of Philadelphia that my ancestors come from. One place studies. And then I've also been diving into ethnic minorities in specific areas that I find interesting. So, like, I've been researching the first African American man to settle in my area, and then I've also been looking at Native American tribes in Alaska. Recently, I've been looking into census records for them.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So obviously, as it's a given, anytime you research, you're going to pick stuff up along the way. Is there anything that you've learned now that you really wish that you knew when you were starting out?
To cite my sources, I think that's something a lot of people say is they wish they cited their sources and where they got stuff. And I know a lot of the younger genealogists really don't do that, and that's something that I wish I had done a lot more.
Yeah, and I'll happily put my hands up to this. I have forgotten to cite my sources a good few of the times, but I have made notes. I have a notebook full of my research notes, which I kept. Like some of them I've written down where I found them, and some of them I may have just gone on a spree of going like, "Oh, I'm finding stuff," and then forget to write it all down afterwards, and then I kind of go like, "Oh, but I didn't put that in, did I?" So that it kind of made me it just kind of made me feel like, right, I should have done this at the start. But obviously, I'm going to try and keep doing it, and I think you've made a very valid point there. So,
Yeah.
with some people, they like different aspects of genealogy. So, for some, it could be finding like records. Like me, I really love seeing records. Some like seeing old photos, and some like really learning the stories of their ancestors. So, what aspect would you kind of lean to as like your kind of favorite part of it?
Well, I really like all of them. Let's see. I think stories, because that really gives you who that person was. And that, to me, that's what genealogy is putting your ancestors in context and explaining who they were and what their world was.
Right, that's a very great way of putting it, I have to admit. So, is there any kind of an interesting story or event or that you wish or don't mind sharing? You don't, if there's something that you don't want to share, you're more than welcome to keep it to yourself. It's up to you. But is there any kind of story or event that you've come across in your family history that kind of made you go like, wow, I never knew that, or would have ever dreamed that would have happened?
I descend from a lot of orphans, and I think that's why I have such an attachment to orphan records. Let's see. One of my favorite ancestors, her name was Maria Abacola. She was born in Italy in, I think, the 1850s. She's my third great grandmother, and she got left on a doorstep in the Italian mountains in the middle of November. No one knows where she was from, who her parents were, or anything. She was just left on the doorstep of a random.
Wow. That is definitely something different. I didn't even. I have a list of questions I'm looking down here, and I just realized I'd put on the same one twice. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll keep moving on. So, what, in your opinion, what does genealogy mean to you? Because for me, it has been my hobby for the past 3 years, and a bit more than a hobby.
Genealogy to me it's what I do almost every day. It's really getting to know your family and who they were, and why you are where you are today, and why you are, or the reason why you act a certain way or look a certain way.
Right. Okay, so we have a few questions popping in. We have one from @Fill Your Roots. Do you feel as a younger person that genealogy is a subject that people are surprised you enjoy or study?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are very surprised, and I know me and Daniel both get the question, are you just doing this for for school a lot of times? And we don't do that for school. We do this for fun, which I think's pretty rare. Most people aren't in the academic field this early, or
Definitely.
for as long as I.
Okay, and we have another one from @Penny's Family History. What is your favorite record source other than the Bug Guys? I think I said that right.
I don't entirely understand.
I'd say, what is your favorite records? Your favorite source, perhaps?
A different source. I really like grave records. Are also very interesting. Grave records, I think a lot of people don't look at them, and they have so much information. They can give you like birth dates, who the family was, who bought the grave, which is sometimes really interesting. Like, sometimes the man wasn't always the person who bought the grave. Sometimes it was his wife. And like death causes, who buried them, what church did they go to, can also be something you get from a grave record.
Absolutely, and we have another one that just came in now from @LinguiJosh. Where do you see your future genealogy journey going?
Recently, the conversation's been coming up a lot with Daniel, and I've been tagging along with that. I don't really know. I think I want to start a business or be a part of a smaller business. I don't think I want to be a part of Ancestry or one of these bigger companies in the long term. I would rather be in a smaller, closer knit genealogical group.
Okay, then. And what advice would you give to younger people who may be watching this now or in the future for like starting? Like, what would you say to them as words of encouragement?
Just start. I mean, you can, as long as you are motivated, you can do it. It's not that hard to research your ancestors, as long as you make sure to cite your sources, to keep everything together, and to be organized. You can do what we're doing every single day and have a lot of fun doing it.
Absolutely. And if people want to follow along with you, if they aren't already, which I'm sure many people would want to, with someone with the amount of experience that you've accumulated over the past number of years, where could they find you?
I mostly am active on my Twitter, which is what is my Twitter? My Twitter is @PJ Genealogist, and I also work with the Hidden Branch, and you can see blog posts that we've written there. And I also have an Instagram, which I haven't posted on yet, so maybe I'll do that though.
I'm sure you will. Well, I think it's definitely time to say thank you, PJ, for being such a great guest, and I'm sure obviously we'll probably be chatting again fairly soon. But if anyone has some last minute questions that they want to get in, feel free to do so now. Okay, so I think we might wrap it up there.
Okay.
So thanks everyone for coming. And like I said, if you want to take part in an interview with me, DM me or or just message me on either my Twitter or Instagram. I'm on Twitter @DanielGenealogy or on Instagram @Daniels_genealogy, and I will be in touch with you a lot soon. So, I just saw one now. Okay, we have another question from Oracle Genealogy. If you could go back in time, where would you go and who would you want to meet?
Ooh, there's so many places and time periods. I think I would want to go back to the 1800s in Romania and see what my ancestors were doing, because that part of my family had so many jobs. One of my ancestors was the general of the area. Like he worked on the fort and was he was very high in that area. His daughter even his daughter's godmother is even a courtier in Vienna, which is really cool. And then I have ancestors who were farmers in that area and merchants in almost any job that they really had. I probably have an ancestor who did it.
Well, that's brilliant. I'd say if it was me, I'd probably Ooh, I'd probably maybe go back to the 1950s or 40s in Ireland, because that's when a lot of my family were obviously a good portion of the family, so like long before me, were still alive in, and
Mhm.
I would have liked to meet a good few of them. So I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you again, PJ, for coming along, and I will be back next week at the same time, 7 p.m. UK time, with a guest who I will hopefully be announcing tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. So I will leave it there. So see you,
Bye.
everyone.